Previously on Marriage Talks.
And you said something because I think this is why most of the time, sometimes I was dealing with another guy, and the wife was telling me sometimes the husband is very harsh with words. And most of the time, sometimes when I was talking to the lady, I was telling her, probably you are pressurizing him to speak there and there. And most of the time, sometimes when men are very harsh with words, is when you are putting pressure for him to speak there and there, instead of knowing who he is, how he processes the information, and when he is ready, he will talk.
Welcome to Marriage Talk Season 4. Join us as we discuss the differences between men and women. We are privileged to host Pastor Tim and Pastor Judy. And for the very first time on Marriage Talks, Pastor Bonnie and Pastor Geraldine. And our very own Pastor Peter and Pauline Kamau. This is Marriage Talks, where our marriages must come to a rest.
The men who learn to understand how we communicate, he will file it at the back of his mind. Actually, sometimes he is the one who will even remind you, you said you would buy new plates. What happened? Let's go today.
I saw some nice ones.
I saw some nice ones. Then you get there thinking, oh my God, I don't think I like them. So you are not saying it because you wanted a solution.
Yeah.
You are not saying it because you wanted him to do something about. You were just talking it, and that's part of our 20,000 words. Our minds is like a web, as you were told. We think about so many things because I believe it's beautiful when a woman is a good homemaker, because even in the book of Titus chapter 5 from verse 2, I think we are told us older women to teach the younger women to be homemakers. And yes, our husbands help us, especially us who are living here in the UK. They are very hands-on with what we do in the home, but it's good, It's really, really good. I remember when we first started Marriage Talks, our very first season, our very first episodes, when we were treading into these uncharted waters, we were testing the ground. There's an acronym I mentioned that was the word couple, that a woman needs closeness, a woman needs openness, a woman needs understanding, a woman needs a peacemaker, a woman needs, I can't remember very well the L, but let's say a lover, and an E, an empathic person. So on the aspect of us being emotional and us liking that closeness, what do you have to talk about that?
Yeah, because that's how God made us, so that see, like men, they're not very emotionally connected. And so, you see, for a woman, we are very emotional. But the same way we deal with emotions, the same way we should protect the man's emotional place, for a lack of better word. But you see, the way you protect yourself, let's say you don't want to see your nakedness to be seen, or maybe you're very private, maybe in the bedroom. That's how a man feels about their emotions. So for a woman, it's very important that we are careful how we handle the man's emotions, because they don't want you to provoke the emotions in public. Whereas they will have to deal with their emotions in a place where it's public and with everybody listening. So that's how much the way we guard our privacy, our
dignity.
Yeah. That's how they guard the emotions. So we should deal with them where emotions are concerned, protecting that. The emotional well-being. It's not like because an issue has risen and we are in front of people, you have to deal with it then. We say we like to talk. It's not everything that you have to say right there and then. You have to think, okay, is this a right time? How is he feeling? Is he tired? What will other people think? If there are people around. So, but when you're doing that is to protect his emotional well-being. Because the men are very private about their emotions, the way we are private about our bodies. So, yeah, so as women, that's how different we are. And maybe as ladies, when we realize that a man wants to protect his emotions and to guard his emotions, then there will not, a lot of conflict will not happen. Because we will always process before we speak, before we do something where his emotions are concerned. Yeah.
You know, I'm laughing because once I saw a meme, I think it was on a social media somewhere, and I saw a meme of this man just relaxing with his wife at home, and he's lying, you know, those private moments, and then the wife is talking to him like in baby talk, "Are you okay?" And he's like, and he's behaving like a baby. But then he didn't know that the wife was recording, and then suddenly he sees her, "What are you doing?" I mean, a second ago, he was really a
like
baby, you know, that's him being raw, that's how he is with you, but he wants that to be guarded. Private. He wants that to be private. He doesn't want that to be all over social media. And you know, you look at it and you laugh because that's the reality. Sometimes the way some husbands behave in the house, if their friends were to come and find them, they would not believe it's the same guy. It's like a totally different person. So it's important for us to safeguard and to guard the privacy of our husbands. And there are issues that you don't need to deal with them there and there. There are things you don't need to talk about there and there. We are not tell other people. We are not covering them. We are not covering them. Neither are we sweeping things under the carpet. But privacy needs to be guarded. I don't know, Pastor Judy, whether you can build on that.
I think it's a very good point when you think about closeness and in terms of difference. As Pastor Geraldine is saying, we are very open. We are there. So our emotions are almost like on the table. Unlike men, and when I say men, not all men. There are some men who are able to show emotions. So it's not trying to stereotype here. But I think coming back to us as women, and the difference is this: because we are naturals, men miss out on some privileges. I would say, when you think about a baby, we nurture a baby, we hear the cry, and we are able to pamper the baby until they go to sleep. What are we doing? We are acknowledging that this baby has emotions. They may be sad, they may be angry. So we know how to nurture those emotions. So we don't even need to go for training to learn how to nurture somebody's emotion. So I'm imagining a man who maybe because of culture, because of their upbringing, they're not able to express their emotion, yet they have somebody in the house who can be able to nurse and to comfort, again going back to the Holy Spirit, to comfort those emotions, and especially when they are hurting. But because they have to safeguard, they have to really put that lock, because showing emotion sometimes is deemed as weakness. So I would say, as we are speaking about difference, and sharing our difference to the men, what we are saying is that we are present to be able to help when it comes to their emotions. They don't need somebody out there outside who is qualified to know how to deal with the emotions. We are there because we know our children. We've done that with our children. So what I'm saying is that it's a quality that maybe has been underutilized by men, and there is a reason for that. The reason is that sometimes men can't trust allowing them to be vulnerable before the women, because they don't know.
Why is that though? Why can't they be
Because they don't know whether you will come back and fight them with the same thing. Because if they show their weakness, if they show they have been defeated or they've been they failed, and then you start bashing them as you have not achieved. You have that is the fear. So there's a fear there that maybe makes them not become as vulnerable as they would want to. So that closeness can be shortchanged.
Okay.
So as much as we desire, we want to have that closeness, sometimes they may not get to that point, although it happens in some aspects.
Yeah, I think maybe to get to that place, the woman would have to earn trust. So when I show you my emotions, when you see me in the vulnerable place, what do you do with it?
That's right, yeah.
So if you're the type that tells all your friends, tells everybody else what's going on, and expose your husband as being vulnerable, he'll just close up. So next time you need to talk, or he needs to share, he will not share with you. So that will be like a closed book. So he will not allow you to go to that place again. Yeah. So it's earning that trust that you can be trusted.
That's
we're
very
seeing him in being vulnerable and weak, and in a place where he needs somebody else.
And that's something, that is something we've learned along the way, because we haven't come into marriage knowing how to do that.
No.
We know how to do that to our children, but we didn't know how to do that to a grown man.
Yeah.
So in a way, we have failed. We have bashed them with seeing them weak or seeing them not having to achieve. But what we are saying now is that it is so important for us to avail ourselves, so that when that vulnerability is open before us, we know how to nurture like we do our children. And them understanding that, as Pastor Geraldine is saying, that they can trust us. But they have to really get to that point where they are able to trust that we can hold that. But what we are saying is that there's a quality in a woman that is underutilized.
It's underutilized.
It's right there.
And when we put it out there, then we mishandle it and we misuse it, then it's contradictory. Because if they are going to trust us with their issues, with their emotions, being open to us, being vulnerable to us, we then shouldn't take that and bash them. We then shouldn't take that and talk about them. Nobody, actually, we should not even be talking about our husbands to our friends and girlfriends, making your husband to be the topic, our phone conversations. Because what are you doing? You are distorting the perception of your friends towards your husband. And that is your own doing and your own making. If a
and
man
people do
comes,
change, even if he may not be in a place where you would like him to be at that point. People do change.
We grow.
So if you destroy the people's perspective about your husband, what happens when they've been transformed? Because when people have lived in the Word long enough, have been in church long enough, or with time, with maturity, people do change and transform. So outside there, people's perspective has already been destroyed, and to build that again becomes a problem. It's not it's not hiding things and putting things under the carpet, but it's appreciating that, well, this may be for a time, and then change will come.
That's very true.
Yeah. So you don't what I have seen in marriage counseling, the woman will come and destroy the man, can do him completely, and this is the man is complaining. You always tell everybody this. You've told your mom, you told your brothers, you've told your friends. So that man is left, very, very vulnerable. So to build that trust again, and to build all the people that you've told, when he's now changed, maybe he wasn't born again, now he's born again.
Yeah, that's right.
He's started changing. Changing the people's perspective will be difficult, because it will not be in your place to change it. Only God can help you. So it's a thin balance. We have to learn how to.
And I think just again crossing over to the side of the men, and kind of sometimes we demolish, we bring down, because maybe we have been demolished, or we've been hurt, we've been wounded, and so sometimes it's bringing that balance by not fighting back, but understanding what the problem is.
Yeah.
Because the way we solve the problems also varies, and it is, of course, different, because we look at problems differently. So in this case where we are saying, let's not demolish or let's not build as women, so, or as wives, in essence, what we are saying then to the men is that, as well, handle with care.
Yeah, exactly.
Handle as, in fact, the Bible says, handle them as the weaker vessels, not weaker in terms of the internal person, or the person of the real person. It is just physically, because even in creation, the way we were created is already different, and so it's looking at that physical weakness and considering them that they need to be handled with care, because sometimes so many mothers or so many women are hurting, have been wounded, so they are going to fight back out there or crying for help. Remember, sometimes in that demolishing, they are sharing their emotions.
That's it.
They are sharing their feelings. So they're waiting for somebody who can understand them, who can hear them. So they go as far until somebody sits with them and says, now I hear you. Now I understand. For sure they have. So that is the cry. So what we are saying is that sometimes we, in our speaking too much or in our sharing out there, it's just looking for that.
Yes, and the Bible, and you know, when the Bible says it's Proverbs chapter 14, I think verse 1, we were mentioning it earlier in our conversation, that, you know, the wise woman builds her house, but the foolish destroys with her own hands. And this is what we are talking about. Why are we quoting the Bible? Because we are Christians and we practice biblical principles for a successful marriage, you know. But we are acknowledging that there's a lot of toxic relationships out there. And what you're saying, Pastor Judy, I hear you saying, is that a hurt person will hurt others. But that's not what we want.
No.
And the hurt person is hurting others, and in the process is when they are talking too much, exposing too much, things like that. Please take note, we are not saying that you cover. If there is domestic violence, no, don't cover. You know, there's a lot of things that go on in marriages that people, especially Christian perspectives, we don't want to talk about them. We cover them. Even the African culture, a woman is supposed to endure a marriage. No, I don't think we were created to endure a marriage. We were created to enjoy a marriage. A marriage that will be thriving and successful. We do not have to endure. So what we are saying is, when we say that protect and safeguard, we are not saying that you cover. No. We are not saying that you cover up or sweep things under the rug when things are not healthy and when things are not right, like when there is domestic violence, there is, you know, financial abuse.
It's not problems.
You know, you're not being well taken care. Okay, that is subjective to being interpreted either way. Somebody's not really handling you well, you know. We are not saying we cover those things, but we are saying that when your husband is vulnerable to you, when he's being open to you, you know, please be understanding.
You've seen a side of him that is a weak point. You don't go telling others.
Everybody.
That means you will not be able to see that side again, because they will just shut down
and shut you out.
Shout you out, you know.
The walls will come up. The guards will come up. So one of the things that how our husbands, the guards come up is when we don't safeguard their privacy. Any other areas that where we don't safeguard them? I know we've explored quite a lot. You know, we don't safeguard their privacy. Is there any other areas when the guards will come up?
I think it's when there is lack of respect.
That's right.
Yeah. When they don't feel respected, automatically that goes
But
up.
what is respect? How do they define respect? Is respect culture? I mean, being African, some cultures, some women walk in, when their husbands walk in, you bow to him. Is that the respect, or is that just culture? What is respect? What do they want from us?
I think when you go back to the Bible, Ephesians, when it talks about women submitting to their husband as Christ, so there's an aspect of authority that the man comes with, and that authority is, of course, we as women are also given that authority, because Genesis talks about male and female given authority. But there's that because of the role that they play. So recognizing that they have that position as the head of the house. So you're respecting the fact that they have a role that has been given by God, who is their head. So as they are submitting to him as their Lord, then we are submitting to the Lord through them. So we are respecting them as an authority in your home, as an authority in your life, and as an authority to your children. So you're not per se saying that I will not respect. For example, myself, I respect Tim because I know he's come into my life to play a certain role. He's come to compliment me, and I've come and I'm complimenting him. So I'm respecting the fact, one, that he's playing a role in my life. So the role gives him utmost respect, because without him, that role, nobody else, I cannot play it myself. So I'm respecting him for the mere fact that he's playing that position, number one. The other thing is that I'm also respecting him because he's adding value into my life. As a helpmate to him, there's something that he's bringing as I give. Yeah? So I'm respecting him because he's adding value into my life. Without him, there are things that I would not reach to. So respect is recognition of him as a person, a person from God, as an authority, authority from God. It's not just submitting, bringing a cup of tea, giving him food. That is not it. No, it's not. It's more recognizing him. And I think there's also the aspect of valuing him as a person. Because when I value him, then his self-worth will be intact in as far as I am concerned. Because when I value him as a person, then I will take care of him. I will nurture him. Because if I don't value something, I will not respect. The reason why we value gold is because we know, the reason why we take care of gold is because we know the value that is
the value of it. Yes.
So I will respect that thing called gold because I know the value that is in it. So I as well recognizing that they are people, not just a person. They are people from God and of God, for God. Then I am able to respect them. But I think that has been muddled a lot because of expectations. So I will value you if you meet my expectation. So that is what has kind of watered down the issue of
Pastor Kamau talks, we talk with him and we teach this a lot, that, one of the greatest needs of a man is respect. And however, there's this talk that we hear all the time. I am the head of this home. And usually Pastor Kamau will ask, who is the head? You said he's the authority figure over your life. Who is an authority figure? That is somebody who takes leadership seriously. You cannot come. So we women, we don't like it when men keep telling, I'm the head of this house, because they use that in a negative connotation, in a, way, in a controlling way, in a manipulative way, in a way that is not very healthy for the relationship. When they want to have their way. When they want to have their way. But if a husband then, recognizes, I am the head of this family, I am the authority of this family, they take on that role. The respect comes very, very easily. It's when somebody is demanding it or misusing it or misapplying it that a lot of problems comes in. So respecting us, recognizing that they are of God, they are there placed by God. There is the order of God, which we respect and we honor. As we submit to them, they are submitting to the authority of God. So there's a chain of command. And it's very easy for me to respect and to submit to a man who is already submitted to God. So it is important. And any other areas we show respect, the respect that a man
Yeah, I just want to add on to what you said about it is very difficult to submit to someone who's not submitted to any authority. And we see in our culture today, people are renegades.
Yeah.
You know, they answer to nobody. You know, they're not answerable to anyone. They don't have accountability friends. You know, they do their thing the way they want, how they want, when they want. And so for the wife, feels, that's a very difficult person to deal with. Because first of all, if they're not submitted to God, because that scripture says that the man is submitted to God, to Jesus, and then the wife is submitted to God. So if this man is not submitted to God first, it's very difficult to submit to him, especially as a godly woman, if they are not submitted to God. That said, that role of the husband is God-given as an office. So whether they're born again or they're believers or not, they have the office that is God-given by God as husbands, as your husband. And so you respect him for the office they carry. So it doesn't mean that you do everything they say, even when it goes against your beliefs.
You're not a doormat, you know?
Yeah. It doesn't mean that now that you don't obey scriptures or you do things that you know that are wrong biblically to please him. Because you said, because I have seen people who say, oh, I took him to the club, we drank. You participate in the sins because you're saying he's the head of the home. I'm submitted to him. It's the wrong way because first of all, there is God. But you respect and you submit to him and respect him for the office that God has given him as the husband in your home.
Yeah. That term respect, it's a term that is used very loosely, but it's a very heavy and loaded word, you know? Personally, I also think one of the ways I show respect to my husband, apart from respecting the fact that he's an authority over my life, he's the head of our family. So I'm able to do that because he offers leadership in our house. And, he takes on his role as a husband and a father very, very seriously. Forget about even him being a pastor, that's being a leader out there. But that starts, the overflow of what he's giving the church has to start within our house.
Within the home.
Because, there's so much you can cover and there's so much you can hide. It can surely come out if it's not happening within the walls of our house, So other ways of showing respect, I think also the other thing I've had over and over when we are having counseling sessions with different couples is in the area of communication. How do we communicate?
Exactly.
We have this many words and their words are limited and few. So, why don't we show respect and honor with our words?
Just before we do that, Pastor, I'm thinking about, because conversely, as we are showing respect, I think I would sit here and say that sometimes women are tempted to opt out in showing respect because of the treatment sometimes they experience. And this, I say, going back, and I want to throw a question to you. When you think about the story of Vashti,
yes,
King Ahasuerus sending for her. So because he makes a feast, and he wants to show off everything that he had possessed. And one of the possessions was his wife. You see, because he had so much pride in his wife, and he sent for her to come so that he can show off. But the wife refuses. So in that context, would you say she disrespected her husband, or she didn't?
I don't know, because it's very subjective, because theologians, or should I say historians, say that the reason why she refused is because of the act that was going to be demanded of her, apparently was to dance before this crowd of people, these great men that were in the banquet. So that is why she refused. But maybe on thinking about it, she could have come up and have a conversation with him and said, look, can I see you on the side? This is not something I'm happy to do. I'm not comfortable. By the way, it's not written anywhere in the Bible. So please don't say Pastor Pauline came and quoted scriptures that are not listed in the Bible. I'm talking about historians, what we read out there. So there's a good way of refusing to do something, and there's a bad way of refusing to do something. You know, if you know your husband very well, you can be able to explain something to him without it looking like a rejection, without it looking like disrespectful.
And she did it in front of all his king friends.
Yes.
And all the other leaders.
Yes.
You know, so like what we were talking about, emotional protection. You don't do that.
You don't do that.
So you come and then have a word. Like you said, have a word.
There's a good way of doing things.
I cannot do this because I am like this. Or this situation. So if he then forces her to do it in front of everybody, then it will not be the the girl's fault. It will be his fault.
Yes. He has failed.
He has failed
to protect her.
To protect her.
Yeah.